I never thought my seemingly perfect fiancé would turn out to be a real control freak. Amber and I had been dating for 3 years, and I saw her as a kindred spirit. Beautiful, intelligent, caring. So much so that I decided to propose to her. But in the last few months it was as if she had been replaced. Amber began to excessively control my every move. She demanded a report on where I had been, who I had talked to, what I had thought about. At first I chalked it up to pre-wedding jitters and tried not to unnecessarily upset her. After all, many brides act strangely due to an excess of feelings, right? "Honey, you'll tell me how your day went, won't you?" "I worry about you so much," Amber cooed, not letting go of her phone. "Of course, sunshine." "Nothing special, just the usual routine," I replied, trying not to betray the irritation in my voice. But the further it went, the worse the situation became. Amber threw tantrums over nothing, suspecting me of all mortal sins. Our once passionate personal life seemed to have been frozen, and yet I never once gave her a reason to doubt my fidelity. One day I couldn't stand it anymore and asked her directly what was going on. Amber burst into tears and confessed that she was afraid of losing me like her exes. I hugged her, promised that it would never happen, but a worm of doubt had already settled in my soul. Our anniversary was approaching, and I decided to arrange something special for Amber. I carefully planned the day, booked a table at her favorite restaurant. All that remained was to clarify her work schedule to make everything fit. "Listen, Amber, what are your plans for next Wednesday?" I asked, as if casually interested. "Oh, honey, I have a bunch of things to do at work." "I'll have to work all day without straightening up," my fiancé sighed. "Why?" "Oh, nothing, just asking." "I wanted to have lunch together." I put on a disappointed look. In fact, I knew for sure that she had half a day free. My good friend Jake worked at the same factory as Amber and secretly told me about her real schedule. It turned out that Amber had been taking time off on Wednesdays for several months in a row. I wonder why. I felt anger mixed with resentment begin to boil inside me. Is my fiancé lying to me, leading a double life behind my back? Could she have someone on the side? These thoughts made me feel sick. "Okay, Amber, if you're playing these games, I can play too. I think it's high time we had an honest conversation. And this Wednesday, I will definitely find out what you're hiding from me." On Wednesday morning, I pretended to be going to work. I kissed Amber goodbye, got in the car, and drove away. But instead of the office, I headed to the mall across from our house. From there, I had a great view of the parking lot. An hour later, Amber came out of the entrance. Instead of her usual work overalls, she was wearing a short, tight-fitting dress and high-heeled boots. She was obviously trying to look sexy, and it didn't look like a work outfit at all. A man followed her out the door, tall, stately, in a red Mustang. I squinted and was surprised to recognize Amber's cousin, Todd. He was saying something funny to her until they disappeared into the entrance. It was like a bucket of ice water had been dumped on me. Is my fiancée flirting with her own cousin? And even bringing him to our apartment? I almost choked with anger. No, I need to figure this out before it's too late. Pulling myself together, I installed a remote access program with notifications on my home laptop, just in case. You never know. These lovebirds might decide to have some fun right on our bed. All that was left was to wait and hope that my paranoia would prove unfounded. How wrong I was. Half an hour later, my phone exploded with notifications. With trembling hands, I entered the program and was stunned. An outrageous scene was unfolding right on the screen. Amber was passionately kissing Todd, lying on our couch. They were embracing each other, tearing off clothes, not hesitating to moan out loud. At that moment, the whole world turned upside down for me. I felt pain, resentment, disgust, and wild anger all at once. These two not only betrayed me, they trampled our love into the dirt. And they didn't even bother to retreat to the bedroom. The scoundrels. Beside myself, I generated a link to the broadcast and sent it to all our relatives and friends. Let everyone know what a liar my dear fiancé is. A minute later, Amber began to be bombarded with calls and messages, but she was too engrossed in the process to notice. And only when Todd's mother called him did the lovers tear themselves away from each other. Hearing his mother's screech, "Stop cuddling with my niece right now!" on the phone, they froze in horror. Todd panicked and rushed around the apartment, trying to pull on his pants. And Amber burst into tears and began to make excuses. I watched this disgrace with vengeful satisfaction. I think now is the perfect time to go home and assess the scale of the tragedy. Oh, I'll give these unfaithful scoundrels hell! When I entered the apartment, Todd and Amber were already dressed and sitting on opposite ends of the couch, not looking at each other. At the sight of me, they shrank and began to make excuses incoherently. "Honey, I can explain everything. It's not what you think." Amber began to whine, smearing mascara on her cheeks. "Oh, really?" "It seems to me that it's exactly that," I said venomously. "By the way, is that lipstick on your chin?" "Actually, don't answer. I don't care." "Dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It just happened," Todd chimed in. In response, I just quoted the classic, "Betrayal is a diagnosis," and I ordered both of them to get out of my apartment immediately. Amber began to beg and cling to me, but I remained adamant. "I've had enough of her lies and treachery." Gathering her things, Amber slunk out in disgrace. Todd, on the other hand, decided to show off and be rude to me as a parting shot, for which he got a punch in the nose from me right on the doorstep, to the delight of the neighbors. He got off easy, the jerk. On that day, my life was divided into before and after. I lost the woman I loved and my faith in sincere feelings. It turned out that everyone around me was only gossiping about Amber's escapades, but sparing me from the truth. It would have been better if they had told me right away how many nerves I would have saved. What happened next? Nothing good. Amber's reputation in our town was destroyed. Friends and family turned away from her, and she was soon fired from her job for immorality. The same thing happened to Todd. They deserved it, and I started a new life. Without lies, cheaters, and toxic relationships. I channeled all my energy into work and hobbies. And you know what? I succeeded. I am happy, free, and confident again. As it should be. So if someone ever breaks your heart, don't despair. It's not the end, but only the beginning of something better. Believe me, I've been through it.